Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the RK Leadership Podcast, where we empower tomorrow's leaders through the sharing of knowledge, experience, and inspiring stories. I'm your host, Rob Kamranpoor, and today we have a very special guest, Coach Pete Wiltshire. Pete, before I pass it on to you, I'd like to welcome you to the RK Leadership Podcast. And again, thank you very much for spending your afternoon with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. You ready for it?
Well, as ready as I'm going to be.
Okay, excellent. So let's start off, Pete, by, for those who don't know you yet, can you share a little bit about your journey and how you got into boxing and martial arts and what kept you passionate about this all these years?
Oh, wow. So I started boxing when I was 16, and I just did it. I actually did it to be the tough guy. And then, you come of age and girls and partying and all that stuff, and I kind of put it to the wayside. And then in my early 20s, I started assisting as a hairstylist, and I became a hairstylist. And one day I was cutting this guy's hair, and he had come in and he asked me if I've ever tried Muay Thai before. We talked about boxing, a bunch of different stuff. And I was like, no. And he goes, you should come by the gym and check it out. So I did. And then I fell in love with it. And from there, it's been like Muay Thai, boxing. Then I started jiu-jitsu. I started competing. And then from competing, it turned into coaching. And actually, one day I was cutting the owner of the gym I was training at. I was cutting his hair. And he asked me, have you ever thought about teaching? And I was like, not really, but wait a second. You're going to pay me to do what I love? And he was like, yes. And I was like, I'm in. And then maybe within 2 months, I wasn't doing hair anymore and I was coaching martial arts.
Amazing. That's awesome. So Pete, going back on your journey, can you define a point that you had to overcome just even from a mindset perspective, or something that wasn't working for you and you just needed to change your life around? Is that something that you can share with us today?
Yes. I'm also talking about this exact situation in the Leadership Summit.
Amazing.
Coming up. So maybe around 2015, my wife and we got scammed out of a substantial amount of money. And we had taken a second mortgage on our home for this. And I was teaching at that time. And the hole we were in, for us to get out of it, it was like, I couldn't just be teaching. She couldn't just be doing what she was doing, which was, she had a not-for-profit and she wasn't getting paid for doing anything. And it was a tight spot. There was also a lot of stuff going on in the world, which there always is. And I'm very intuitive. I feel a lot. And it was heavy on me, all the stuff going on in the world and the whole thing with the money. And, going through that and then realizing that I had to take responsibility for what happened.
Right.
Like, I can't blame that person. Well, I can because they're a scumbag, but I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't look into what I should have properly. And because of that, I ignored the red flags because I just saw money.
Mm.
So from that point, once I took responsibility for what I did and what my part was, I decided that I had to move forward. And I built my private training practice from that.
Right.
And I worked day by day, and, and that's kind of where Coach Pete came about, from out of that instance. Like, that being scammed was one of the most pivotal moments of my life. It taught me a lot about myself and about my wife. And we got through it, and we're stronger today.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that, Pete. So for all the parents out there, Pete, I'm a strong believer of, teaching kids discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, having trained with yourself in the past, I think discipline is key when it comes to, raising kids. And one of the ways is putting them in something like martial arts. What's your message to the parents out there, and how does martial arts or boxing or these kind of sports help kids with respect to their discipline?
So there's a couple of things. There's learning work ethic. There's also team, because even though martial arts is an individual sport, you learn and you grow with your team,
That's right.
right? And the accountability that you have to show to your teammates is huge, along with your coach.
Hmm.
And taking that, you can martial arts, I feel, is how do I say it? It's transferable to everything else in life. And learning it at a young age, it builds confidence. And in that confidence, you can go out, and most of the martial artists I know, they're not going out and picking fights. They can handle themselves, and they know that. And the more you know how to handle yourself, the more
Yes,
you realize that you don't want to fight,
that's right.
right? So I think it's more, and when you say discipline, I always think about like a discipline for a child. So a parent or a coach would be doing that. But I think it teaches self-discipline.
Yes,
And I think that's the most important out of all of it.
couldn't agree with you more there, Pete. Um, so, Pete, when it comes to yourself, what's your daily mindset routine? Something that keeps you grounded and sharp.
Oh, so let's say, well, we'll start from the night. Before I go to bed, I spend maybe about an hour where there's no screens.
Mm,
And I'll either breathe, do some stretching, or I'll read, make a list of what I need to do the next day, and then I'll go to sleep. And then when I wake up in the morning, I try not to look at my phone for at least an hour. I meditate, I do a little bit of movement,
nice.
I check and see if my kids, if they need anything, and then I get into what I need to do for the day. Because I find that if you start your day looking at your phone, you're at the will of other people, at other energies, where I want my energy to be centered on me when I start
Hmm.
my day and move forward.
Amazing.
So meditation is a huge part of that, and movement.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think meditation is so important, especially when you get up in the morning and
Hmm.
you're gonna go out and hustle and bustle throughout the day. I think it just to start the day off, being grounded. I think it's super important.
Yeah. Going back to the story I was telling you about when we got scammed,
Yes.
one of the things that was pivotal in that is I hadn't meditated for a while
Mm,
before that happened. And one of my friends, we were talking, and he was like, "When's the last time you meditated?" And I was like, "I don't remember." And he was like, "Well, go home and meditate and then call me." And honestly, that is where I decided to take that responsibility. It was after that sitting and breathing session that I realized that I was really to blame for it.
that's right.
And I needed to take responsibility and move forward from there.
Amazing. Now, Pete, a lot of people struggle with anxiety,
Hmm.
and it's something people don't talk about. Again, what would be your kind of what would you recommend to people who are dealing with anxiety, and is the mindfulness or the meditation something that they can practice to help them with the anxiety?
So I would actually not recommend. It depends on how much anxiety they have, how
Mm-hmm.
deep they're in it,
Mm,
right? Sometimes meditation might not help. It might have them spiraling deeper into it. I would actually recommend moving their body,
mm,
walking, running, jumping, finding something they love to do, or they have loved to do, if it was as a child or anything like that. And I would say the first thing would be to move, because I feel like anxiety is a lot of mental stuff, but it also develops as a certain energy in your body.
that's right.
And if it's still, then it gets stuck in it, then it grows, and then you think more, and it's like a cycle, right? And I feel like movement can help disperse that. Getting out in the sun will help too. Breathing without, how do I say, don't think of it as meditation.
Mm,
Think of it as like taking a 4 second deep inhale and a 6 second exhale,
nice.
right? And what you do is, like, for when I train people for exercise, when we're warming up, I get them to inhale uh, a little bit more when they're warming up. It kind of gets you hyped, gets you excited, warms you up. And when you're cooling down, you focus more on the exhale.
Uh,
So exhale, it calms your nervous system. So I would say, really, what you want to do is calm your nervous system before you do anything else. And I think movement and a little bit of breath work helps with that.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that, Pete. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how some people tend to quit or give up when things get tough. How do you push through the pain or fatigue when your mind wants to quit?
So physically, there's actually research on this. Like physically, when when you think your body is done, you really do have more in the gas tank.
Yes.
Like the Navy SEALs have it. I think it's the 40% rule, is that when you think you're done, you actually have 40% left
That's
in the
right.
tank, right? And it's just you building that mental resilience to keep pushing. And what I would say is it's something that you would have to train. Some people they just like, oh, I can't go on. If you're holding a plank for a minute, do it for 10 seconds longer.
Mm,
You can do it for 10 seconds and then 15 seconds and then 20 seconds. You need to develop that resilience. And resilience is something that you can train and practice, right?
that's right.
But you have to kind of just believe in yourself and say, I can do this, and just push that little bit more. You know what I mean? I've seen fighters all the time think, they come back to the corner. I'm so tired. I can't keep going. And I go, you can keep going and you're here. I go, your only other option is for me throwing in a towel. Is that what you would like? And
Mm,
once they hear that, they're like, no. And they go on, they finish the round. Win or lose, they finish that round and they finish it sometimes stronger than they started,
that's right.
right? And it's all in how you frame it in your mind.
So important.
Yeah.
That's so important. It's funny you say that. I actually use that same analogy in the gym as well. When you're pushing and you think you're tired and you don't have any reps left in you,
Hmm.
uh, I've heard somewhere up to 60% that you
Yeah.
have left in the tank. So that's thank you for sharing that.
And a lot of people don't realize how much physical strength and endurance that they actually have,
Yes,
right? And because they haven't pushed themselves, they won't know.
that's right. You don't know your limit until you
Exactly.
push it. um, Pete, what's one of the mindset lessons from the ring that applies directly to leadership or life outside of fighting?
Ooh, there's so many. Um, Adaptability.
Mm,
I think adaptability is a huge one, because in the ring, if you don't adapt, like there's a lot of different things that come out into it. There's the coaches in the corner, then there's the fighters themselves,
that's
right?
right.
So fighters come in and maybe they're pretty well matched up, but then one coach will see something in the fighter that the fighter's not seeing, and they go back to the corner and will say, listen, he's dropping his left hand,
Mm,
right? Now, if that fighter takes advantage of that, they will start scoring points. Now, your job as the fighter with the low left hand is to adapt to this now. So you have two choices: raise your hand or bait them by keeping your hand low
mm,
and then taking advantage of that. But if you don't have that will to adapt, if
that's
you're
right.
stuck in this pattern, this rigid thing, you're never going to be able to do that. And I feel like the same is in leadership. If you're not able to adapt and learn to change and learn to learn and grow, you're going to be stuck in this one spot the whole time.
Absolutely. Adaptability is huge in leadership. So again, thanks for sharing your point on that. Um, you've trained countless athletes. What separates the ones who train hard from the ones who lead by example?
It's a good question, because I don't, they're usually the same person.
Mm,
They're usually like, honestly, like there's people that come in and yeah, they train hard. But then if you're not pushing, it's like, for example, we do rounds of pad holding for 3-minute rounds. Okay. In that 3-minute rounds, you should be working that whole 3 minutes. There's people that talk, there's people that, because, the gym's a social place. Sometimes people
that's
come
right.
there for that social aspect. But if you're pushing yourself through that whole 3 minutes, that right there equates to the ring. It equates to everything else you're doing. I do all my conditioning in 3-minute rounds so the fighters know what it's going to feel like when they're in the ring. And the ones that are there and push through that whole 3 minute, everyone else is watching them. So I would actually say that the person that's leading by example and working hard are the same people.
I couldn't agree with you more. Now, Pete, how do you build trust and respect with your fighters?
Oh, I'm honest with them. I'm
Uh,
honest with them and I'm open with them. I and I'm myself. You know what I mean? I don't sugarcoat things, but I also I'm not a yeller. I don't yell. I don't berate. I mean, I see a mistake. Okay, we have to fix it. And we go on from there. I am open. They can talk to me about anything. They can message me anytime. Do I answer right away all the time? No, but I'm going to answer.
That's
And
right.
I'm going to be there. Um, I feel like that trust is there because of that. And also too, I also tell them like, they're there. Like I would love for them to be training with me all the time, but sometimes they want to go train somewhere else. Go train. I want you to train.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of coaches that be like, oh, they're going to leave. They're going to do this, but they're going to take my knowledge and go somewhere else. My knowledge isn't to be hoarded. It's to be shared.
That's right.
Right. And if I share it with you and then you take that and go somewhere else and then you learn something else and that makes you better, then I did something good.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think I tell them that all the time. And I think that openness is one of the reasons why they trust me so much.
So now, having said that, how important is that in the boardroom or in organizations as a leader?
I would say the same thing applies. Exactly. Like people will come to you and you need to be able to be open and honest with them, not berate them.
That's right. Yes.
Help them. You know what I mean? That's what you're there for. Like I feel like when you that whole thing about leading by example,
Yes.
leaders are supposed to lead by example.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not like do this and then, go do this and I'm off here doing something else. You have to be there with them. You know what I mean? In the trenches.
That's right. Exactly.
And I think that is one of the things. Like I'm there in the corners with them. If like, for example, we're going to do the leadership summit and this is important to me, but I also have fighters that are fighting that weekend.
Yes.
Right. And I told them this is important to me. And they were like, you know what? This is an opportunity for you. Go do it. But I'm going to make sure that I'm there for them and I'm supporting them as well as I can.
Present leadership.
And that openness between us, like it's special.
Absolutely.
Like for the fact that they actually like, you need to go do this. They're encouraging me and they know that I'm supposed to be there with them.
That's right. No, and I think, and that's why I brought it up. I think that building that trust within your team and having that respect, not only is it a mutual thing, but it's so important as a leader being, in the office and in an organization. Building that is critical.
Yep.
As a part of your growth as well. So again,
and I also think it's like families too.
Yes.
Family members,
Absolutely,
friendships, all of that.
Relationships.
Yeah.
It works in every aspect of life.
I agree.
Right. So Pete, what leadership qualities do you see naturally develop in someone who trains constantly in martial arts?
Oh, self-discipline. Resourcefulness. Looking out for others. Nice. And I see this in more the high level martial arts. When you're starting in martial arts, you don't see it as much, but as they get into training more, I see it in new students showing up and them taking the time to go help them.
That's right.
Without me having to say anything. You know what I mean? So they know like if I have a 40 people class, I can only be in so many places. And I see the higher students going and helping the newer people.
Amazing.
Right? So those things, I think and I don't even think you realize it's happening when it's happening. When you're training in martial arts like this.
Builds up naturally.
Yeah. And I think they also develop the ability to lead. Yeah, the ability to lead without even knowing they're growing that ability.
So the one thing I really want to bring up, Pete, is, as you know, a lot of people have what we call an ego. And how do you handle ego in the gym, both in athletes and in yourself as a coach?
Well, that's something I think everyone is going to deal with on a daily basis. Oh, sorry. If they're aware of it, they'll be dealing with it on a daily basis.
Yes.
And I think the first thing is to be aware. Now, I think the ego is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay. Does it need to be kept in check sometimes? Yes. Now, in martial arts, to do it, usually like in jiu-jitsu sparring, Muay Thai sparring, boxing sparring, there's all different levels of people. There's always going to be someone out there that's better than you.
Mm.
Okay. And that's a humbling experience. Okay. When you go in a ring with someone and they're not even trying and they're just touching you and you're going all out and it's like a day in the park for them.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's going to check your ego.
Yes.
And I think martial arts, one of the most things, especially in jiu-jitsu, like there are guys that come and they think they're strong and they're big, but then 140-pound blue belt twist them up.
Well, humble them.
Yeah, easily. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the main things is that, and that's where also the team comes in.
Yes.
Right? As a coach, it's actually, I learn from watching the students. I learn from watching them. And that's what keeps my ego in check. Because in order for them to get better, I have to put that aside. I'm not teaching them. I'm not molding them. I'm not like, let me rephrase that. Because my wife likes to say that I'm a molder of men. I'm not making a copy of myself.
Yes.
Right? I'm expressing these things for them. I'm teaching them these things, and then they have to adapt it to their style, to their way of life, to the way, how they're going to move forward. And seeing how many different people do these things, I think that's what helps me keep. And it's a weird thing. I think that's what helps me keep my ego in check. Is because, yes, I can teaching this one thing, but everyone is doing it in a different way,
yeah.
right? So is my way right?
There's some influence there for
Yeah.
sure. Thanks, Pete. Now, something exciting. You're going to be talking at the upcoming Young Professionals Leadership Summit in October 18th to be exact, in Toronto. What are you hoping the audience walks away from your talk?
That's a good question. I can sum it up, I think, in one line.
Go for it.
That I think that the discipline and training like a fighter is the blueprint for leadership. I really think that the skills that you learn in training, the dedication, the practice, the reps, the mindset, all of it, like we talked earlier, can be transferred into business, into life, into family. Yeah, there's so much. If I'm going to say the main thing is probably mastery.
Amazing.
Because without practice, you can't be a good leader. I don't think you just, like there's people that are natural leaders, but I don't think you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, that's it, I'm going to go lead. It's a system or something that you follow that eventually you become this person.
That's right.
And I think it's in reps, in mastery.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't wait to listen to your speech and your talk on the 18th, and looking forward to that, Pete. Before we end today's podcast, we've come to a segment where we call rapid fire questions. I'm going to throw some questions at you, and just the first thing that comes to mind, Pete. Ready for it?
Okay, let's do this.
What was the best book you've read that taught you the greatest leadership lesson?
That's a very good question. I've read a lot of books that I liked. Siddhartha.
Interesting. Who is your mentor or hero growing up?
My mom.
What's the one word that describes Pete best?
Caring.
Amazing. Lastly, where can people find you?
At the gym. Okay, so there's you can look at my social media, Instagram, it's at Coach Pete, Boxing Mobility, my LinkedIn, Coach Pete, and my website's actually going up this week, so it's coachpete.ca.
Amazing. Awesome. Again, thank you so much for being with us today. I greatly appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. For all those tuning in, thank you for joining another episode of the RK Leadership Podcast. And we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.